Welcome to Cheat Code Nutrition, the podcast where science meets strategy to help you decode your body and unlock next level health. I'm your host, Ellie Young, functional nutrition practitioner and genetic testing nerd, here to guide you through the real root causes of fatigue, stubborn weight, hormonal chaos, and mystery symptoms the traditional system shrugs off. Whether you're optimizing for longevity, performance, or just want to feel like yourself again, you're in the right place. Around here, we don't guess, we test. We use functional lab work, genetic nutrition, and a no BS approach to precision wellness that works with your body, not against it. If you're ready to ditch the one size fits all protocols and start working with your actual blueprint, this is your cheat code. Let's get into it. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Cheat Code Nutrition. I'm Ellie Young, and I'm pumped to be with you guys. You know, sometimes you fumble your words. Today's podcast is before you jump into HRT, hormone replacement therapy, let's first understand the real root causes of perimenopause chaos. So the hormone conversation is super loud right now. If you're like me, your Instagram feed is just flooded with constant uh hormone answers, right? The hormone balance answer. I know I'm part of this. I have been into the cycle syncing. I'm trying to understand everything there is to know about estrogen and progesterone and I also got into HRT. I went to a naturopath. I then went to a different naturopath online. So the cool thing is that less than a year ago, none of my friends were on HRT, and now all of them are. It's super easy to get access. There's really like so many different companies offering it now with very little barrier to entry. And this is a good thing for a lot of reasons, but it's not the end all be all answer to your problems. I think we are marketed this idea that all you need is a little bit of hormones, a little bit of estrogen and progesterone, and all of a sudden you're going to sleep like a baby. You're going to start, your rage is going to go away. You're going to lose weight. And like, wow, like all these women are like, I'm just feeling so much better. But for a lot of women, that's not the case because it feels very similar to a pill for every ill, right? It feels very similar to traditional medicine, of course, because there's money to be made here, right? So, they see this huge industry of women and menopause and perimenopause is having such a hot moment that there's just endless products being sold to us, HRT being one of them, right? And so it does feel a little bit like, hey, all you have to do, and it's treating the symptoms downstream, right? We're only looking at the hormones. We're only looking at this one system and going, hey, all you have is a deficiency of estrogen. Let's replace that estrogen and everything else will be fine. But we're not looking at the whole system. We're not looking at how all of these systems interact with one another and really truly getting to the root cause. Yes, perimenopause is coming for all of us. There is going to be this natural decline in our hormones. But not only can we minimize the suffering of that kind of imbalance and that roller coaster, but we can also kind of prevent the early onset of it. A lot of what women are suffering from is hormone imbalance, but it's not perimenopause. It's not really the natural decline of it. It's more that our hormones are just all over the place because all of our health is all over the place. Our gut health, our detox and liver health, our sleep habits, the amount of toxins coming into our system. And so if this is you, if you're feeling bloated, burned out, PMSy, foggy, frustrated, and you're thinking like maybe you've tried HRT and you're like, oh, that didn't do much. I really wanted that to be the answer. And maybe you feel a little better, but you're still struggling with a number of different systems. Don't lose hope, okay? You're just being fed you're just being fed one solution on, like on a one little system. There's a lot of other things we can be looking at here. And if we kind of keep going upstream to the root cause and start working on that, it does get really, really simple and it does get easy to try to balance these things kind of more holistically without jumping right into hormones. Okay. So let's back up a little bit to my story. And of course, my story is super important because it's why I am doing what I am today, because nothing has come easily for me. I have had a lot of different issues that I've continued to chase and continue to try and learn about because I'm not somebody who was able to just do one little diet and wake up with a six pack one day and drop 20 pounds and like all of a sudden magically have these just incredible results. That is not me. I have struggled to find results. I have struggled to find things. And the more I have learned, the more I'm realizing, oh my gosh, I was following the wrong path. I was doing the wrong thing. Like, and as educated and informed as I thought I was, it wasn't what was right for me. And so I've continued to go deeper and deeper into this work. And where I've landed is integrative and functional nutrition. And even further upstream than that is genetic testing because you can't get any more root cause than your genes. Okay. So back up here. What I thought my symptoms when I first turned 40, and true, a lot of things start going south at 40. I really did think it was just perimenopause. I had stopped drinking alcohol, but I was having a lot of different, like, weird hormonal symptoms, as one does. And I got really into cycle syncing. And what I love here is that I was really on the right path with cycle syncing. This is a truly holistic approach. It is learning what your hormones actually should be doing and how you can actually support them with your diet, with your lifestyle, with different exercise modalities, instead of just following one hardcore diet, one hardcore workout, and never really shifting and always just kind of demanding the most out of your body instead of following what your body intuitively is naturally kind of flowing in and out of, right? So I got really into cycle syncing. I love this approach. But I did assume that HRT was kind of the next step. It was also the next step in my kind of evolution of my education. Like I really just wanted to learn more about that. And I started working with a naturopath again, because I was also just what what worked for me initially with the cycle syncing and intermittent fasting kind of stopped working all of a sudden. And so I went to the naturopath and I did a bunch of different labs. And at this point, this is really interesting. My experience with this naturopath is truly what led me to go back to school for integrative and functional nutrition because I was like, I want to know more. And if it's really just the barrier to entry is doing labs and me understanding how to read labs, like I wanted to do that for myself. I didn't want to have to go through a super expensive provider who's still, and again, I keep going back to this, I don't think all naturopaths are bad, of course. I think there's amazing people out there, but my experience wasn't great. And I really just wanted to be able to do it myself. Um, but in the end, she diagnosed me with Hashimoto's. She prescribed a thyroid medication. She did my hormones. And while I wasn't super, drastically low in anything, I was trending low. I was definitely like, but she actually said this isn't perimenopause. So I don't really know uh what sort of, again, what threshold they're looking for, again, because they had no baseline for me, what my hormones normally are. Everybody's so different. But she wanted to say, hey, let's start with a little progesterone, no estrogen, which I agree with now, and a little testosterone, because I was having struggle with muscle mass and like maintaining my strength, which I had always like been very strong, but all of a sudden I definitely noticed a decline in my muscle mass and my strength. But I didn't love this experience, and I found an online doctor who had a really cool education program and was doing topical hormones in a club, like a monthly club that you could have all of these hormones shipped to you once a month. You would get your hormone labs every quarter, like every 3 months. And I thought this was genius because I had just spent a ton of money with the naturopath, and all in this monthly club that I was now joining was going to be cheaper. At least that's what I thought initially, but it was like $130 a month, but then ongoing, right? And I thought, oh, I'm going to have to refill my topical hormones, which this doctor did give me topical estrogen, topical progesterone. My previous doctor gave me oral progesterone and topical DHEA, which is a precursor to testosterone. So I was like, ooh, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this combo. And I actually felt like I gained weight from this combo. I felt like the estrogen was too much for me, which I'm really curious here. So your estrogen ebbs and flows all month long, but when you do HRT in these topical forms, you're taking a low dose of estrogen every single day of the month. I think you take one day off, but that's not how estrogen really works in your body um, throughout a normal cycle. And because I am still a cycling woman, I'm not anywhere near menopause. I think I was giving myself too much estrogen. So I was experienced lots of water retention. I think I suffered from more estrogen dominant symptoms. I was having more PMS. And I thought, what the heck? This was not working for me. And again, as much as I want to support these companies, because I do think the service that they're offering to women, the access is incredible, especially when there were whole generations of women who were denied access to HRT and suffered because of it. I do think this is incredible. And for the right woman during the right time, this is the answer. But it's not for everybody, and it's not saying that it should be the magic bullet. We should be looking at all these other things you can be doing for your health to help encourage healthy hormone balance. And additionally, here is what I learned about uh, why maybe I wasn't having the best reaction to taking estrogen. I probably didn't need it. My estrogen, while it was fluctuating and it was a teensy bit low, taking that consistent dose was too much for me, and here is why. Um, I tested my genes in here. So again, I did all of this testing in my functional training. I was doing hair tissue and mineral analysis. I was doing gut panels. I was doing thyroid panels. I was doing all the labs because I wanted to learn on myself and learn how to read and interpret these labs. And it's like, who better to practice on than yourself, right? And what I learned is that I have some genes that were making my estrogen metabolism and detox a little wonky. I have a SNP called SIP1B1 GG, which basically means, I know you love those names, right? Which basically means that when my body metabolizes estrogen, it sends a lot of it down a pathway called the 4-hydroxy pathway. This is this is nicknamed the dirty estrogen pathway because the byproducts, what the estrogen is metabolized into, are kind of aggressive, right? Think of it like this. Instead of breaking down estrogen into a clean, water soluble form, there is a pathway that estrogen can go down, which would do this. But instead, more of my estrogen is getting pushed down this dirty pathway. Um, it's like my body makes a version that's stickier, more inflammatory, and way harder to clear out. This form of estrogen can actually cling more tightly to your estrogen receptors in your breast tissue, your uterus, and your brain, which can actually lead to symptoms like estrogen dominance, breast tenderness, mood swings, bloating, heavier painful periods, even increased risks for things like fibroids or estrogen sensitive conditions down the line, like cancer. Okay, so this made sense to me. And like before, I was like, I don't know what's making sense to me. I didn't understand. I'm eating all the cruciferous veggies. I'm doing all the things. I'm taking estrogen. Whoa, like it wasn't working because it was basically too much estrogen. It was pushing it down this negative pathway. So, yeah, even using bioidentical estrogen creams or patches can cause problems if your body isn't able to detox it efficiently. It's not necessarily about how much estrogen you have, it's about what your body does with it. Okay? So, this is really, really critical information, right? And I don't hear anybody talking about it, probably because it's a little more complex than most people want to grasp. But again, we really do want to continue to go upstream and not just assume it's perimenopause because I'm getting old. It's like, let's look at your sleep habits. Let's look at your nutrition. Let's look at your detox systems. Okay. Perimenopause is real, but it's not always the root. Most women are inflamed. Most women are under recovering from stress, from workout, from dieting. Most women are overstressed. And maybe you're eating and training like the 25-year-old CrossFitters on keto, right? I know I was doing this for a while. So there's systems. These are your systems. It's not just hormones are dysregulated. Your gut could be inflamed. It could be imbalanced. Your liver could be overburdened. Maybe you think you're avoiding all the toxins, but you still drink alcohol. Maybe you think you're avoiding all the toxins, but you have a bunch of microplastics that are seeping in different products in your household, right? It's really tough. We live in a super toxic world, and it is a chore to constantly be on top of it with like eliminating the plastics in your life, eliminating the parabens and the hormone disrupting things, right? It's a lot of work. And this creates stress. Hello brain, hello uh, you know, gut brain dysregulation. Just even having this conversation makes me like stressed a little bit, right? Oh, I'm not doing enough. I need to do more. And then our thyroids are sluggish, right? This is what's going on with me. My thyroid is like, wake up, buddy, like start working again, right? So again, it wasn't perimenopause for me, from what I understand. It is that my thyroid's asleep and I had gut dysbiosis. That was the next panel that really opened my eyes. Was I did a GI gut panel and found out I have dysbiosis, which is basically an imbalance of the good and bad bacteria in there. I have H. pylori, I had candida, and again, I was relatively symptomless. Other than like my thyroid issues, this Hashimoto's diagnosis, I didn't have any gut problems per se. I didn't feel super bloated. I didn't have constipation or anything like that. But again, I had hormone symptoms, estrogen dominance, and I had gained weight. So I it I went off all the hormone stuff, except I went back to oral progesterone in the back half of my cycle because I do think I struggle with that. Oh, sorry about that. Um, and then I started working on my gut health. Now, I'm not quite transformed, everybody. I don't really have this like, okay, here's the transformation. And I dropped 15 pounds and I'm kicking ass and everything's amazing. I'm still in the middle of this kind of journey. So I want to be super transparent and super real with you that like, it's not like this is the answer. I just want to share my process and that every time I have done a new lab or actually going back to the genetics, I am learning so much more about myself and it's fine tuning how I go about things. And it's not HRT, that's not the answer. It's mostly going back to gut health, specific things I'm doing for my gut, specific diets that are tied to my genes, and specific protocols that are tied to how I metabolize estrogen, specific workout strategies tied to my genes because turns out I'm get super inflamed and get a lot of oxidative stress when I work out hard, so I need more rest days. So again, it's really helped me go, I don't need to be watching all of the Instagram people and trying all these different diets and every different recipe and all the protein and all the keto and all the, you know, everything out there. I need to do what's right for my body. And this has helped streamline everything for me. So before jumping in to another kind of quick fix like HRT and hoping it's going to be the answer, right? It's we and again, I don't want to bag on HRT because again, there is a time and a place for it. I will most likely be on it again at some point, just not yet. I'm not going back to estrogen for a while now until I really feel like I need it. Um but we want to address the root systems, right? Because it's like if you're doing estrogen therapy, and you're not working on these other things, it's like pouring water into a leaky bucket. You can actually delay or even minimize the symptoms of perimenopause more effectively with nutrition, with blood sugar balance, with nervous system regulation, gut health, smart movement that's like aligned with your cycle. So I get it. If you feel like your hormones are all over the place, start here. Nutritional foundations that will shift with your cycle, supporting each phase, follicular, ovulation, luteal, menstrual. Pay attention, track it, understand what each phase needs from a nutritional, from a stress perspective, from an exercise perspective, and start making simple habit shifts, not a total life overhaul. Okay. And most importantly, if you want to really invest in something that is going to really, truly get to the root cause and personalize your strategy, my favorite way to cut through that noise and know exactly what your body needs is a functional genetic test. It will show you how your system is handling estrogen. It will show you all of your estrogen receptors. It will show you all of the different genes tied to your detox pathways, your methylation pathways, your blood sugar response, what your gut is doing, your gut capacity. There are genes that impact how well you absorb vitamin B12. Like, how wouldn't that be interesting to know? Like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I had, this, I don't have this one, but a lot of my clients do have a gene that's impacting the absorption of vitamin B12. Wouldn't that be interesting to know? This is everything that makes you you. So to wrap it up, like, perimenopause is not the villain. She is coming for you. It is a process, it is a journey. But what's more critical is an unbalanced system. So before you reach for like a patch or a cream, I really suggest reaching for your blueprint, your genetic test. You don't have to trial and error all these different things. It's expensive at the end of the day. Testing your hormones and getting these creams and getting these patches. I've spent a fortune on all this stuff, and I get excited about it, being like, this is it. This is really going to work for me. And I've had mixed results. It's been a mixed bag. But with my gene report, I finally feel like I'm understanding myself and I know how to support myself. So what works for me may not be what you need, and you may need a completely different approach. But if you're curious what your genes are saying about your hormone health and how to actually work with your cycle, please check out my genetic testing and precision nutrition coaching for women. You'll get a customized plan that honors your body's real needs. No guessing, no trendy hacks, no one size fits all, no BS. The link is in the show notes, or you can always DM me on Instagram, ready at Find Myself Free, and I'll send it your way. Thanks for being here. As always, I am with you. You got this. Thanks for tuning in to Cheat Code Nutrition. If today's episode sparked some curiosity about what your genes are trying to tell you, grab my free guide, 5 Genes You Should Know to Optimize Your Health. It's linked for you in the show notes. And if you're ready to skip the guesswork and start working with your actual blueprint, check out my genetic nutrition coaching offer, also linked in the show notes. Your next level of health might just be one test away. Until next time, stay curious, stay nourished, and don't forget, your body's not broken. It just speaks a different language. Let's learn to speak it fluently.